here.
Mark,
From
Mr. Project, Jim Maximowski, Mike Sarzinski, and Bill Dwyer, and Mark Dunn are all from the planning board are here. First up for general information, Mr. Dwyer.
Up was Richard Alcorn.
Mr. Alcorn, you're up. There we go.
I'm just, I was here, I don't know, a month or more ago, talking about the, school going into 300 Venture Way. You asked about a traffic study. I provided the traffic study. I guess it's late. I don't know if you have a chance to look at it, but I'm hoping that, you guys will authorize us to be able to use the 300 Venture Way location of the school, so.
So unfortunately, the traffic study didn't arrive until yesterday afternoon, and I did send it around, but I know that Jim is traveling. I think Mike is traveling. Mark was running for re-election, so I don't think we had, I know I didn't have a chance to look at it yet. So regretfully, we'd like to ask you to come back in 2 weeks.
Okay.
Next up was Matt Olszewski.
How are you guys? I am here in reference to 21 Lawrence Plain Road. As you know, I've been working with Randy Iser on subdivision, and if you want, I can share the screen. I think he had sent an email with proposed changes, but we're hoping to extend the depth of our buildable lot by about 59 feet.
Actually, I have both of them queued up. So
Hey, Matt, for the record, how do you pronounce your last name?
Olszewski.
Shevsky, yes, okay.
Olszewski. How about yourself?
Sarzinski.
Oh, okay. I figured that
I'm
was
just
it.
curious if you use the W as a V.
I'm sorry?
You pronounce the W as a V, a Shevsky.
Olszewski. You don't
Yeah.
even pronounce the W.
No,
So, yeah, this is all new to me. We're obviously from passing by, you can see the progress on 21 Lawrence Plain Road, along Lawrence Plain Road. The reason for this request is in having my septic design, I'm learning that 50 to 60 feet are needed in the front yard for the system to be installed. The depth of my house is about 80 feet. My wife and I would like to have a pool someday down the road, understanding we've got 2 little girls and 2 dogs, where we don't want the pool to be right along the backside of the house. We want it to be separated a little bit. So ultimately it was 200-foot depth, and we are asking if we can be allowed to do 259.
So I'm going to just stop share here for a minute. I'm trying to share 2 plans, and it wasn't working out all that well.
Okay.
So this is the subdivision we previously approved back in November.
Correct.
And you'll notice the parcel B is 49, call it 50,000 square feet. Lot 2 is 40,000 square feet.
Correct.
Now, this is, oh, that's the same one. 50,000. Okay, let's see if that would work. Yeah. So you see it's now parcel B's down to 38,000.
No, that's not us.
That's the one on Millsite Road, Bill.
That's the other one.
That's the one on Millsite Road.
We're seeing what you think you're seeing, we're seeing this. The
Okay.
bulb.
Then I'll stop sharing, as that's not the one I brought up. Okay.
Let me see if I can host disabled participant to screen sharing. Okay, so I can't share my screen, but
Yeah, I can enable that. I'm just not entirely clear why it has chosen to stop working. So let me enable yours. Okay, go ahead.
see that.
There we go. Yes.
So yeah, this is the new, so working with Randy Iser, this is what we've come up with to kind of suit our needs, our building lot that we plan to build on and stay for a long time. And like I said, originally it was 200-foot depth. You can see where that 200-foot line right here was once at the prior design, and now we're just asking to add 59 feet.
A and B are unbuildable. Okay.
So yeah, A still unbuildable, B is still unbuildable. We just stretched this out 59 feet towards the west.
So procedurally, this is coming to us as an approval not required plan. We are not required to reopen the public hearing on the subdivision because the layout of the private road is not changing.
No,
Yes.
everything else stays the same. We still have the emergency turn off. The road stays the same. Lot 1 stays the same. Everything stays the same, other than the fact that we're just asking for a little bit more square footage and depth going backwards, going towards the back of the property, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve as an approval not required plan.
I would second it.
Mark, second. We have a motion and a second. Any other discussions? Hearing none. Roll call vote. Jim Maximowski, aye. Just
Mark
say your
Dunn,
name and
aye.
please say, and we've got to start to do this under the rules if we to follow them. So just say your name and your vote.
Mark Dunn, aye.
Bill Dwyer, aye.
Joe Zagradnik, aye.
Mike Straczynski, aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
All right, thank you guys.
Okay, I'm not sure when Mandy will have it available to sign, or if you're gonna have it, Matt.
I'm new to all this, so whatever I need to do to continue progress,
Okay.
can speak with Randy, or we can communicate via email.
Okay, well, what either Bill or myself or Joe have to sign the plan. And then
Okay,
and then you can file it with the town clerk and the registry or wherever else it's gonna go.
okay,
Once you get all the paperwork, just give me a call and I'll come over and sign them, or Randy can bring them over, whatever the case may be.
okay. Thank you so much.
Okay,
All right, have a great night.
yeah, you can stop screen sharing.
You do.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Mr. Warner.
Next up, I had Jeffrey Casey.
Jeff, I'll take this one.
Okay, thanks.
So I'm with Jeff, Tom Reedy, Turner Bacon Wilson of Amherst. Hi, everybody. Jeff is with Belize. And so we are here on 299 Russell Street. This was one that Barry and I were in front of you maybe a month ago, a couple of weeks ago at this point. We were gonna change some siding and kind of upgrade the exterior. And subsequent to that, Barry and Jeb spoke, and it made a lot of sense to have this site act as the kind of the dealership, the auto dealership, while Belize is going to be constructing their new site at 315 Russell Street. And so we're here asking for site plan waiver. There aren't going to be any exterior changes. We're not going to be putting any changes to the exterior of the building. We've got to take both signs down just as working with DOT. We're going to take those signs down as I put in the email to everybody. We'll be back, but it'll be a compliant sign. We don't know what it's going to look like at this point, but there will be one sign on that site. Currently, there's two signs on the site. I think one of them is internally illuminated. If not both of them, one of them has like electronic message board. So, we're not even looking to horse trade or anything. Those are just going to come down and we'll put up a compliant sign. But we'll either be back before you if we need to, or go right to the building commissioner. So we're just asking for site plan review waiver for the ability to use this site as the auto dealership instead of upgrading it like Barry had originally proposed.
Just a little bit of clarification here. This is a former Rocky site.
Correct.
And it will be contiguous to the existing Belize property by connecting along the rear near the bike path. And it is over 2 miles from Country Nissan up the road. So it is compliant in virtually everything that we can think of, or because they talk, Mr. Reedy and Barry have been asking a few questions about this. And according to Google Earth, it is like 2.5 miles from Country Nissan, so it's exceeding the 2-mile limit, even with this property. So they should be okay from that point of view, and it's contiguous, and it's going to be the same dealership in name.
Correct.
Subaru.
Correct. Thanks.
Are they gonna keep the property after the temporary siting is complete and the new building is up?
That's a great question. We've only got a year lease, but we'll have the conversation with them. I think it's right now, based on conversations I've had with Jeff, the focus is on using this to build the new. And then probably once they get their feet under them with the new, then we can revisit and say, hey, is there an opportunity to use this site in the future for something?
Tom, what exactly are they using the building for? Office space?
All operations. So just, and Jeff, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think, Mike, if you envision a construction fence around essentially the entirety of 305 and 315 Russell Street. So like where that old Rayos building was in the front and the Steve Lewis Subaru, right? So construction fencing all around there. There'll be storage of inventory in the back, but there's not going to be any public allowed to access that back portion.
Okay.
Because they're going to be taking down the buildings. They originally had thought, well, why don't we use part of the building, take down part of the building on the existing site, build a new building while we're still using in it. I mean, as you can imagine, the time that it takes and just the logistics of that are a little bit impractical. So Jeb and Barry talked and came to a deal, and what they're going to do is construct that new site, and then this site, they're going to have like 10 display vehicles here. They're going to have all of their offices here, the service here, et cetera. So they're going to operate out of this site for that period of time, a year, until they get that new site completely built.
Realizing that if they do decide to keep it after this construction period is up, they will have to come back for site plan approval to do whatever's going to be done. So they're not looking to completely waive it. They're looking to waive it for the time being, if you would, and at a future date to be determined what will then happen. Either they get out of there and goes back to Barry, or they keep it and do whatever they got to do with it.
Precisely. Yep, that's exactly it.
Is the rental place involved? Or
When you say, and I mean, this whole site is under lease with Belize. So, I mean, the rental, all this whole space is empty. I mean, Barry's got a bunch of stuff in there that he's got to get out, wagons, etc. But besides that, it's vacant space. And so they're going to be taking this whole site.
Makes sense.
He's going to use the horse-drawn wagons and put some horses in there, and they can feed the horses out of there with the car.
Barry would love it.
Okay. Any other comments or questions from the board? Hearing none?
This is like a 1-year waiver or whatever they need for construction.
Yeah, we'll be back. When if something else is going to happen there, we'll be back. If we can figure it out, it'll be sooner rather than later, but we just don't know at this point.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to waive further site plan approval on the basis of no exterior enlargement
Second,
to be reviewed 1 year from date of approval or date of waiver.
So if I could, so Tom, I don't know if we needed to clarify. So the lease, I believe, like begins in August. Is that correct?
That's a great point, Jeff. I was asleep at the wheel. No pun intended. Yeah, it starts in August, so maybe until, let's say, if you want to say next fall, next August,
August, say August 2025.
that's
I'll do-
fine. Yeah, yeah.
I'll do September
September
1,
one, yeah.
2025.
Thank you. And if we need an extension, we'll be back well before then to ask for it.
Okay, very good.
Thanks, Jeff.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussions?
Who seconded it?
I did.
It's Osinski.
Mike,
Okay.
Mike second, okay. Both. Motion and second. All in favor? Aye. Jim Maximowski, aye.
Bill Dwyer,
Dunn,
aye.
aye.
Joe Zagradnik, aye.
Mike Sierczynski, aye.
Mark Dunn, aye.
Motion is unanimous. It passes. All
Thanks,
set.
guys.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jim, do you want to, while I'm here, just on 220 Russell Street, as far as timing goes for that application, just if we want to,
I was just putting together the legal notice. It'll still be June 18th.
Okay.
We're still on track for that.
okay. And when you get back, I can drop off the envelopes and those plans.
Yeah, I should be able to get the cost to you ahead of time because that's all done by email anyway, so.
Okay, and then I can bring that to the town clerk, and then when you get back, I can bring you the material, so that sounds great.
Okay.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Yep. Very good. Next up, Mr. Dwyer.
Okay. I had Davis Walker. He doesn't seem to be with us anymore. Oh,
I'm here. Hi. And I have my teammate here, Danielle.
Hi, good evening. I'm Danielle Leonore with Kimley Horn. Davis and I are a team on this, so I'm going to speak on this one on 344 Russell Street.
Who are you with?
Kimley Horn and Associates, we're a civil engineer. Our office is in Waltham.
What is the subject address again?
344 Russell Street.
what is the use?
It's currently a Starbucks. It's a mixed-use retail center, but we're specifically here to discuss the Starbucks and the menu board relocation.
So, do you want to share your screen?
Yes, I can share my screen. You guys able to see the plans on my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so the proposal we have before you today is to relocate the existing menu board at the drive-through Starbucks at 344 Russell Street from approximately the 5th car about 30 feet further back to the 7th car. Starbucks has just found that they can increase the speed that you can get through the drive-through, and this helps queuing by being able to relocate the menu board to the 7th car. So here it's a pretty easy, straightforward fix to relocate. Like I said, about 30 feet. It's still remaining in a similar area in this little island back here, and it's not changing any traffic patterns. And so we wanted to discuss this with you of what you all would require, or if anything, to make this change happen in the field.
This is the same menu board, just moving about 30 feet, you said?
Correct. It's the relocation of the board that's around car 5 here in red, and we're moving it approximately 30 feet further back to the 7th car.
Roughly 30 feet easterly, okay.
Correct.
Same menu board, I don't see a problem. I don't see a problem. I don't know what the rest of the board feels.
Yeah.
No.
Oh,
Okay, I'll do a motion to waive site plan approval, waive further site plan approval for this alteration.
Do you have a second?
second. Josie,
Motion. Mr. Zagradnik, second. Any other discussions? Hearing none, all in favor? Jim Maximowski, aye.
Bill Dwyer, aye.
Joe Zagradnik, aye.
Sierczynski, aye.
Mark Dunn, aye.
Very good. Motion is unanimous. It passes. Good luck.
All right, thank you all. Have a great
Thank
evening.
you. Have a good one.
Good.
Thank you, Bill.
Oh, wait a minute.
Oh.
Did you email this into the bill or something? Do we have your email?
Yes, I've emailed this to Bill, but if you need me to resend it, I can resend it.
Okay, I just want to make sure we have your email so when I send the waiver to the building inspector, you got a copy, that's all.
Bill, do you have it or do you need anything else from me for
Yeah,
this?
I have it. I think I sent
Okay.
it around to everyone, but it's been a
Okay.
couple of weeks now.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
But if you want it, just so I don't have to go digging through.
Yeah.
Just resend everything to planning@hadleyma.gov.
Okay, great. I'll resend that to you guys right after I get off.
Thank you.
Thank you guys. Have a great evening.
You too.
Let's see. Next in was Dana Steele.
Good evening. I think, I'm Timothy Coon. I'm using Dana's computer. But I am here to the Skinny Pancake at 379 Russell Street. And I can share my screen if you allow me.
What did you say your name was again?
Timothy Coon with J.R. Russo and Associates. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
All right. So this is the property at 379 Russell Street. It's about a 33,000 square foot lot located up in front of the Hampshire Mall with the Florence Bank to the, I guess you would call it the west of it, kind of to the
This is the
the
corner
right of the
Mo's.
Yeah. Yes, this is the former Mo's. Also in the building, there's 2 tenant spaces. The other one is occupied by Elements Massage. And Skinny Pancake is looking to move into the former Mo's space. So it's just another restaurant moving in. However, what they're proposing to do is they're looking to put in a walk-in freezer at the rear of the building, which would be adjacent to the existing concrete patio, which is outdoor seating that they have out here. And this would require the elimination of 3 parking stalls. And we would be redoing the sidewalks to make the connections with ramps and whatnot, and adding just a couple of landscaped islands there in order to complete it, and a little additional seating area. So one other thing that they want to do is they would like to place a storage container within the existing fenced dumpster enclosure. So that would just require removal of a section of the fence, which is a stockade fence. They would back the storage container in there, and it's actually got a roll-up door on it, so they could utilize that, access it right from that side of the dumpster area.
Now, I'm assuming the storage container is what you like, something like a truck body?
Actually, I submitted a cut sheet for it. I can pull that. Hang on, let me just, here we go. This is the kind of,
That is not permitted.
You beat me to the punch, Jim.
okay. All right. I will
Storage
let them know.
Freestanding storage containers like that are not a permitted use in the town of Hadley.
Okay, I will pass that along. So we'll take that off the table.
Now, eliminating the 3, you said 3 parking spaces?
Yes, and we've,
What does that leave you for parking on the property?
there's significant parking on the property based on the building area and the outdoor seating, the adjusted numbers that when we've added our walk-in freezer and additional outdoor seating, the requirement is for 11,954 square feet. And we have remaining 15,514 square feet.
Yeah. Outdoor seating, is that calculated into the parking?
Yes,
It is?
yes. So the building square footage With the new walk-in freezers, the 5,360 and the 617 square foot is the outdoor seating.
The walk-in freezer, I'm assuming that's attached to the building and access through the building?
Correct.
Okay, so it's not a container.
No,
What's the established gonna be? What kind of retail? Oh, pardon?
restaurant,
Restaurant, okay.
similar use to what was there. Well,
Is there,
not Mexican.
is there gonna be any covering or tenting like of the outdoor patio?
No, nothing's proposed for that.
Signage.
Right now, they haven't come up with any sign details. They are, let me just, gonna share a different screen here. This is what's there now. They anticipate using the existing pylon sign and just putting their Skinny Pancake emblem on that sign, and they'll likely have something on the building, but we'll have to come back in for signage because they don't have that details provided at this point in time.
Is this some kind of a chain or is this just somebody's good idea?
I believe, actually, is there anybody from Phase Zero Design on?
Hi, this is Signy from Phase Zero Design.
Here we go.
He does have a couple other restaurants. I think one's in Vermont. I wouldn't say it's a chain like Moe's or Chipotle, but he does have a couple other restaurants. And I think this will be the first in Western Massachusetts.
Okay, I'm just curious because I haven't heard the name before, so that's the only reason for that.
It is new to this area.
Okay.
Now, looks like Vermont, Montpelier, Albany.
They were into the select board to get a liquor license. Like 3 meetings ago.
Is it crepes? Is that what that is?
Yeah,
I
crepes.
believe so, yes.
Okay.
Okay. That's the board of selectmen responsibility, be out of our hands.
Jim or Bill, do you, either one of you want to make the comments regarding the potential creep of the outdoor seating into something a little bit more enclosed as we faced before?
I think in this case, they have plenty of parking, so I don't think it would be, if they wanted to put a tent over it, I don't think it would be an issue.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or a heater for the winter.
That's
Yeah.
it.
They're like 30 to
They're
40% extra.
Providing 15,000 square feet of parking, they're only required to provide about 11, so there's quite a bit of leeway there.
Yeah.
Like a pretty good menu. I'm just looking online here.
So
Getting hungry?
Yeah.
What's the menu like, Mike? Is it more sandwich?
Hamburgs, crepes. Order online. Here you go.
There's a little free advertising for you, Mr. Kuhn.
Yeah.
okay.
So I'll make a motion to waive further site plan approval for freezer addition and patio enlargement, but this is not approval for signage.
Right.
Second.
They have to come back for signage.
And we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none?
Really
Yes.
quick, so the owner also would like to potentially change the color of the building to a, one second.
Breakfast burritos, breakfast all day.
So he would like to change the color of the building, or at least his portion of the building, to a dark charcoaly gray, called cracked pepper.
Well, you're gonna have to come in with the colors so we can approve it. So that's an outside exterior alteration.
Okay, so we will have to join another planning board for that?
Yes.
Yes.
Do you have the color available? Can we present?
I do not have it on hand, but I do know that is it's not set in stone. He's still kind of thinking about it. So I will let him know, you know, when if he comes back in with the signage that he should propose the color then.
It shouldn't be a big deal to change the color,
Okay.
but we just like to double check to make sure that's
Sure.
okay.
And
Yeah.
if he, I do have to throw the question out, you know, he is potentially talking about expanding the cooler over to the edge of the curb on the right side. If he does do this alteration, will this also have to come back before the planning board?
Correct.
Okay,
Extending the what?
the cooler in the exterior,
Walk-in freezer?
yes.
Yeah, if he
So
makes
you
it
think-
bigger than,
Yeah, he would like to, I think, potentially make it wider by 4 feet.
well, right now it's approved for 290. If you make it larger by 4 feet, it will affect your
Okay,
your parking allowance accordingly. So you'll have to reduce some numbers and bring it back to us.
okay, thank you very much.
We meet the first and third Tuesdays of the month, and the first half of the meeting is set aside for things like this.
Thank you.
So do you want the waiver tonight, or do you want to just come back for everything? It's up to you. It's up to you.
I will take the approval for tonight, bring it back to him, let him know that if you'd like to change the color of the building and extend the cooler, that he will need to go back before the planning board again.
Okay, that's fine.
Thank you.
I'll amend my motion to waive further site plan approval for a 290 square foot freezer and a 261 square foot patio enlargement, but not approving signage at this time.
Okay.
Or building color exterior changes to be considered.
I don't even want to put that in. It
Right.
may not come back to us at all.
Gotcha.
He may decide it isn't worth it, but
Okay.
That's 261 square foot patio enlargement, you said, Bill, correct, right?
261 patio enlargement and 290 walk-in freezer.
Right, okay, fine. Yeah. We have a motion and a second for that? Somebody second it?
Yeah, Mike second.
Okay.
Seconded it.
Any other discussions? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Maximowski, aye.
Dwyer, aye.
Joe Zagrodnik, aye.
Sarzinski, aye.
Mark Dunn, aye.
Good. We have a unanimous in favor.
Thank you very
Motion
much.
passes.
Thank you.
Good luck. Thank you.
Good luck. I'll be there. Good menu. Really good menu.
Okay. Mr. Kyle, you are now up.
Thank you, gentlemen. It's nice to see everybody tonight. We have 2 draft documents to review. And would be happy to jump right into it if we're ready. We'll start sharing screen for the draft rules and regulations for the planning board. I believe that's visible now. So some minor changes from the last meeting. Thank you all for that feedback. I think we've gotten the document down to a manageable size. Mr. Zagrodnik, you'll be happy to see it's 25 pages now, and there may be some more skimming to do. So if we jump down to the remaining areas to just quickly review, we'll jump down to inclusionary zoning. I know that this has been a long, ongoing conversation. It's still in here for now. If now is not the time, we can cut it and leave it for a future conversation. I did a bit of research to see how some neighboring communities do this or calculate this value. It's a wide gamut. There's some kind of default values. There's some calculus in some other communities that gets really complicated. And included in this draft is some language that the board and my colleague Ken Comia came to or discussed in years past that would require a minimum fee of $60,000 per unit. Again, if now is not the time, I understand, and we can postpone this conversation. And just cut this section from the document.
That's a good idea.
Okay, that's
We
very,
we
that's
could
very,
spend literally days
Yeah.
on that.
We
one.
have.
we have, okay. Well, no need to,
So I would just do just a moment of background that
Yeah,
I think
sure.
the consensus of the board was, this was a conversation we had with Ken.
Mhm.
And he pointed out that in some communities, the purpose, they allow a buyout, a payment in lieu, but they really discourage it. So they make
Right.
the payment in lieu a pretty steep price.
right,
And our consensus was that we don't want to make the payment in lieu a penalty or a windfall. We wanted to make it a realistic alternative.
right,
So we're not trying to make it punitive, but some of the numbers we got when we got the assessors to give us some of the
Hmm.
values for what prices, what properties are selling for. And we tried to run the formula with that, they really were punitive.
right.
So that's where we left it. We agreed to disagree or agreed not to agree at that time.
Right.
So I'm not sure
No.
we're any better positioned now.
Right. Thank you for that context, Mr. Dwyer. And I completely understand the position, not necessarily wanting to be punitive and creating this value, or also not wanting to discourage any development. So yes, I will just strike right now live. I'll strike this draft language. My formatting is going to be a little off, and that's okay, but that's just a little less paper to work through.
And I'd just like to say it may appear to be punitive, but it also perhaps reflects reality.
Yeah, that's a great point, Mike. Yeah, even the ones that seem straightforward, it's a complicated arithmetic. It's a bit over my head sometimes.
One developer's representative did give everyone a scolding because since it was purely, in his version, in his view, punitive,
Mhm.
that it might have some legal infirmities.
Mm.
We ended up striking an agreement that was acceptable to his client. So we didn't have to go any further down that road. But he pointed out that in some other communities, there is a carrot and stick approach. Ours seems to be mainly a stick approach. So that, and I believe this is going to tie in intimately with Chapter 40R, because that's really the whole point of inclusionary zoning, to be sure that we have room for everyone. And the suggestion was made that if you offer the ability to build more intensely on smaller lots, you can more easily, you have to establish a quid pro quo that yes, if you give us 20% affordable, we will let you build on 20,000 square feet instead of requiring 40,000. That's a gross oversimplification, because with so much of the town on septic, we don't have that option to offer that kind of density. But it may, and I hope does come up in the context of the 40R work that you all are doing.
Just as an aside to that, Bill, in 40R, I noticed that Hampshire Mall is under foreclosure. It just came over the wire.
That's breaking news. All right, thank you both.
Yeah.
Yes, I think the state of infrastructure capacity for the town, that is on my short list of must discuss topics. Back to the draft rules. We cut some of the accessory apartment excess. I left in procedures for a quick reference, but again, happy to cut that. It is a bit redundant to the existing zoning bylaw. I believe that was also another topic that has been rarely brought before the board, if I'm not mistaken. Oh wait, no, that might have been senior.
The accessory apartments were coming in at a fairly, 1 or 2 a year pace. And there's a conversation to be had there about whether we want to allow. That's for another time, whether we do accessory apartments by right within a structure or require a special permit for freestanding or not go there at all.
Right. But yes, as it is redundant, I'm happy to cut this 12.3 as well, if we'd like to just slim it down a little bit.
I mean, if it's already spelled out that way in the zone bylaw, I would just leave 12.3 as a title there. And just simply say, see the zone bylaw for that, to make it a little bit, so they know that there is a procedure. And we just follow the bylaw itself.
Okay. I'm gonna cut the text. I'm gonna add that to the comments because I don't have the appropriate section pulled up, but I'll cite it and just see, see zoning bylaw section
26.
26. There you go. So we cut out some of the redundancy from senior housing, also from the home business, just keeping it to the governing law and the authority granted to the planning board. You'd asked for some language here in section 15, erosion sediment control for stormwater management. So I appreciate some feedback on 15.4 joint consultation with the Conservation Commission. I can zoom in on that if we need. So that clause is all new. Happy to read aloud if you'd like.
I would just add that the Conservation Commission must be consulted.
Oh, there we go. Thank you. Happy to fix that. It's an easy one. Okay. Any other thoughts? Forward.
Yeah.
All right. So then getting into the last section, 16, limited business design review. Thank you, Jim and Bill, for helping me find where this now lives in the zoning bylaw. So didn't know exactly how to reference a note on an appendix, but this is what we've come up with. Would welcome any revisions to 16.1. The application of design review guidelines for plan development within the limited business district is governed by the use regulations of the zoning bylaw, specifically note 4 of the table of uses zoning bylaw attachment 1. Thoughts?
That sounds
fine. That's good. Great.
That seems logical.
Again, just clarifying, planning board authority is a special permit granting authority. And just stating that sure that development aligns with residential agricultural style buildings. It's very similar as language to the bylaw, to the bylaw itself. So just try to make that clear.
Yep.
And then the rest of it is what you've had for a while now. So just renumbered everything and kept it in the same order.
Just get back there for a second.
Sure.
The special permit process.
Right.
First of all, I don't recall that we have an owner occupied exception for a commercial use.
Yeah, I don't believe it has to be owner occupied.
Or if it is, even if it is owner occupied, that seems to imply that if it's owner occupied, they could do a commercial use without a special permit. But they're still subject to site plan approval, or site plan approval is 1,000.
Yeah, but in the limited business district, I don't think you can put up a building above 2,500 square feet, if I'm correct, if I remember.
Yeah, but this is in the village center overlay, correct? Oh,
No,
limited
this
business.
is limited business
right?
design.
Okay,
Limited business.
So I'll just highlight this and I will confirm.
Just check that.
yeah.
Yeah. Good catch. Thank you.
How would the owner occupied have gotten in there? That's how it came to you from?
This, yeah, I hadn't touched this draft language, so this came from years prior. So I don't even know when this originally got to PVPC.
So if we change that, is that something that we need to have a
Well, it
hearing
depends
on?
Yeah, it depends on where it came from. If it is something that came out of the bylaw, then that requires a change. But we haven't had any. This has not been a very active area. I don't think we've had any reviews in limited business since you've been on the board, Mark. So we know that's been 5 years.
Right.
So it's not a frequent flyer. So we.
Well, actually, wasn't one of my first ones, the exotic auto?
The last review we had was Boisvert, if I remember.
Okay.
You know, exotic auto was limited business. Yes, that definitely was. So,
Yes. That's a pre-existing building too.
Right, right.
I will double check via the bylaw and just check for any language regarding occupancy of owner.
It could have been an offshoot, Kyle, from home occupation business. Candy making was one of the things, and dress sewing or something like that from the original documents. So that was allowed.
Somebody might have done some cut and paste, copy, cut and paste, and they might have just put that one in there.
Yeah, it happens, and that's why it's always good to bring it back to group of 5 to get as many eyes on it as possible. Yeah, so I'll happily review the limited business section of the bylaw, make sure that those details are accurate. Other than that, excuse me, nothing much more to review tonight. The images are embedded in the document. I don't have them separately, so I haven't played with moving them at all out of a fear of losing or messing up those. I believe they're accurate. They get the image or the sentiment across. That puts the document at about 24 pages. I will need to reformat this because bringing text from many different documents, alignments and margins have gotten confused. So I'll do my best to keep it consistent and tidy. So that next version, I can happily have that to you before the first meeting in June if you'd like it. There'll just be a couple of clarifications in section 16 and a reformatting just to make it a little bit more consistent.
June 4th would be our.
I believe the first meeting in June might be a busy one, Kyle.
Okay, I know I'm scheduled for the second meeting, third.
Yeah, the second meeting, the only thing we're gonna have on the agenda so far is the one that I just talked about with, for the metal build, US Metal Building.
Right.
220 Russell Street, that should not be a complicated public hearing.
Okay. Yeah, since I've already got that one on my calendar, happily include this. Again, it's very small revisions at this point.
Okay.
So, all right. That's good. And I'm just going to stop sharing so that I can switch to the second document I have for tonight. I save that first. So I also shared with you a draft permitting guide. And that is very similar to a draft that you worked with Ken Comia on a couple of years back, with some added contact information from the most current permitting brochure that Mr. Dwyer shared with me. And then some flow charts that you also provided so that they represent what you're already using. A couple of comments just to clarify some things early on. I just want to make sure that this guidance is what you would like to have in the permitting guide. It directs interested development to the building department first. And yeah, I'm just curious if that is what you would like to see, if we'd like to clarify or specify within that, if it's the permitting coordinator, which is a position, or if it's just building department broadly and just leave it at that.
Would leave it as building department as the first stop.
Right. Okay. So then I'm just going to say that that's all good. Let's see. My next question comes a little bit down. I've been trying to check all the links so that I know that they're active. Let's see. We put in your project review and approval process. That's the first flow chart that's shown so that potential applicants can see how to advance their projects. That's followed by the special permit flow chart. Oh, yeah, that's what I meant to say. So here, sorry to skip back, but there is a C variance process flow chart. I didn't receive that, and I was that's my next question, is if that has already been generated or if we'll need to create something for everybody.
I'll take a deeper look into what I have.
Thank you. These are very good, so I hope we can hope they work, and I hope they're working well for you.
Well, the sidebar to a variance. Variance is, it seems like if they don't get their way, they can, if they get a no, you can see variance. Do we really want to put that in there? Because a variance is almost impossible to get, according to most legal experts.
Before we say that, what does the variance process flowchart say?
Okay, so that's good reason to try to find it.
Yeah, I think I'm trying to remember if I believe I had one in here. There we go. Yes, we do have a process for applying for a variance. So that's just a couple pages down on page 10. So let me zoom out so you can see the entirety here.
Yeah, I think that's good. It does have the requirement that all of the following exists: the hardship, the land conditions unique to that parcel.
Right.
Okay, suppose probably just leave it in there then if this is spelling things out. So let's,
Yeah, that was my point was, does the variance application spell out, or application spell out that a hardship must be shown?
yeah.
Right, Yeah.
Yes.
first and foremost. Okay. If there's a similar flow chart that's already been created, happily add it here, but for now, I believe this is accurate. Um, this looks a little different. I can always change the colors, make it look a little bit better.
Yeah. No,
Um,
I think that's fine because that's a very contained process.
right. Okay. Okay. Um, that one. Okay. So if we skip on down,
Can we just go back to ZBA for a minute? Because there's
Sure.
one other tool that they have, and that is the finding.
uh-huh.
So, the finding process allows for an expansion of a pre-existing non-conforming structure or use upon a finding or determination by the ZBA that the expansion basically, the finding just requires the fourth condition, relief without substantial detriment to the public good. It's worded a little differently. It's in the same, it's in the same section, I believe, that addresses variances.
Okay.
But we might go back to in the flow chart, back to the first reference to the ZBA, and just add, if you can, into the block, see variance process, flow chart.
My only concern with doing that, Bill, is that you may give false hope to a lot of people that they're gonna be able to circumvent the variance process. The finding is kind of a special,
It is. I want to maybe just, okay, variance process flow chart, and then in the variance yeah, just maybe add another bold head and say finding, and then in certain circumstances, pre-existing non-conforming use can be expanded.
you may be trying to give him too much legal advice, to be honest, Bill.
Part of that, maybe I want to make sure that the ZBA is aware of it too. That's why I'm trying to keep it very vague, just that in certain circumstances, an expansion of a pre-existing use may qualify for a finding. And then let them, I don't want to give it as much detail as we did with variance. I don't want to ignore that it's there, but I don't want to. No, I agree. I don't want to.
Spotlight on it, yeah.
I don't want to spotlight it, but let's just see what we can make it look like. And
Okay. I've got it plugged in into my comments over here just because for formatting's sake, but I'll make sure to add that and we'll keep it concise. So, okay. So after the variance process, we have Conservation Commission review with a very similar flow chart. believe it covers everything that's required by Mass General Law. I don't think there's any issues here. We have a section of, oh,
I did forward it, this when it came in, I believe, to Kayla.
okay.
Yeah.
Just ask you to take a look at
I
that.
just, yeah, just looking at it really quick right now,
Mhm.
see that it says no development or disturbance is permitted within a minimum non-disturbance zone of 25 feet. The town bylaw is actually 35 feet, and you might want to reference that town wetlands bylaw as well.
Okay, thank you. Yes, thank you, Kayla. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Never mind.
Any other thoughts on conservation process? Concom?
Other than that, I think it looks good.
Just out of curiosity, the part that you're, no development or disturbance is permitted within 35 feet from the above resources. What does that mean? That if you're within 200 feet, you can't build? Within 35 feet?
It's with 35 feet from a stream or wetland or vernal pool,
Okay,
actual resource area.
if you. I'm just looking at the way this is worded.
Right.
No.
When you 25 feet is linear or vertical, or how is that? What if I am on a cliff and the water is 40 feet down, but it's 2 feet from the edge of the cliff?
Yeah, we do horizontal distance. So just looking down, it's 35 feet from the boundary of the resource area.
Even
Felix,
if-
could you add,
35 feet from the following resource areas and then list the different resource areas. I could
Yeah.
even I could send you, Kyle, the wording of the bylaw, and you can kind of just copy that.
yeah, if you want, that saves me a little bit of time just digging it out. I appreciate that. I see what you're seeing though, Jim. I think the way it's worded is referring to this earlier bullet. And I think that just it gets a little confusing.
Something about that doesn't look to make good sense. Like, if you're within 25 feet of the above resources, well, I'm in the 200-foot zone.
Right.
So am I 25 feet within a 200-foot zone, or is it the perennial stream or the river?
Right.
It's not worded clear.
Well, it's 200 feet within any perennial stream, Jim, or
But the one that's highlighted is no development is permitted within 25 foot, with a minimum 25-foot non-disturbance zone of the above resources. What above resources are we talking about? The
Right.
stream, there's the river, or if you're within 225 feet of the 200 feet?
I see what you're talking about, Jim.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Because there's a number of resources in the first, second, and third
I
bullets.
mean, I think I know what you mean.
Right.
You're talking about the stream of the river, but the way it's worded, it's like, it's confusing. It's all I'm
That's fair.
saying.
No, I see that now. So yeah, we'll work on rephrasing that.
Kyle,
Yes.
little aside, if someone is coming in with a development that includes affordable housing, can they overrule wetlands?
I don't believe so.
I thought they could, because
Oh.
they, in Sunderland, just check that out. I hear back and forth.
Okay, I will check that out. That's a good question. I'd be surprised, honestly.
I would not be, because they can
Oh, okay.
overrule everything, so.
Joe, are you talking about like a hostile 40B or?
Pardon?
Hostile.
40B housing, the big
Yeah.
complex in Sunderland, that's just off of 63 by Bub's Barbecue.
So through a comprehensive permit,
Yes.
a 40B okay. I thought
Yeah, no.
wetlands was one of the few.
Question for Collingwood.
Okay.
Are you still on, Tyler?
I'm not sure about the answer to that.
Okay, I just got a quick question for you. If you're within 200 feet of the perennial stream or river, can you build within that 200 feet?
You could build within the 200 feet, you just need a permit.
Okay, so you can build
Town-
within,
Sorry?
you can build within it within reason.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, contingent on approval from the Conservation Commission.
okay,
And one other thing in the flow chart,
Mhm.
you don't have to send notification to abutters for the request for determination, so you might want to just maybe separate the process for notice of intent and request for determination there.
Okay.
Because abutters only for the notice of intent.
Right, I'll have to make, okay, do it down here. This is complicated. True. Okay. Thank you, Caleb.
thank you, yeah.
Okay. So some work on this one. I'll get to that. Moving right along. We have links for state permits that may be required. Federal permits that may be required. Those are the big ones. We do have a section for frequently asked questions. These are pretty straightforward, but
Go back up to the federal things.
yep. Section 404 for the Federal Clean Water Act,
Yeah, no, it's not.
National Historic Preservation Act, and then the Environmental Protection Agency Stormwater Notice of Intent and/or DES permits.
Okay, all right, okay, yes, all right, no. I just want to make sure that the National Historic Preservation Act only references, it's not like you can't do this. We don't have a historical zone, we only have a historical overlay district.
Right.
Okay, so if you're using federal money, you fall into a unit category.
Right.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
And that's what trapped East Hampton Savings Bank when they wanted to tear down a building to build their branch on the corner of East Street. Because they were federally insured.
So they weren't prohibited from doing it, but they had to take a inordinate amount of pictures of the house they were tearing down. And house was by no means historical, but it fell within the qualification of historical by its age, which was kind of silly, but that's the way the government works.
Right. Okay, so my next question for you all, we have a section for common permits and licenses. They may be common, but it's pretty extensive in itself, and a lot of this gets repeated, frankly, further down. So yeah, one question about gas fittings, just needing to clarify, because I didn't find anything in the existing permitting brochure or online through the building department. So I had a question about that one specifically. If anyone knew, I can always follow up.
That's in the plumbing code.
That's in plumbing, so it would be building.
Yeah.
Okay.
All the inspectors run out of the building department.
Right.
Good to hear. All right. So again, this one is I don't think I had any other questions here. It's, I guess, helpful. There are some references. I don't know if see Article 3.
Of the general bylaws.
Yeah, I think we need to make sure that we say that.
The question I see down wells, and never mind wood and pellet stoves, but I remember going to a town meeting when I was relatively young, and they did not allow people drilling wells on their property, yet everybody's drilling wells. Is that an old bylaw? Do you remember, Bill, a town bylaw, or it was
Yeah.
not a zoning?
There is no bylaw about drilling a well. What if you drill a well and you run the well into your house, there is a plumbing code that says you need to have a cross connection to prevent contamination with your town water system. But there's not a general bylaw, it's a plumbing code under, I don't know where.
Okay, maybe that was it.
Well, there's still parts of Hadley that do not have municipal water, so.
Right.
Correct.
Yeah. I think the far end of Chamorro Road is on wells.
So would anyone know, does the Board of Health have wells regulations or anything like that?
The plumbing code,
Okay.
I'm not positive of this, but I believe the plumbing inspector is the #1 authority on drilling a well, and the Board of Health, if you're going to be using it for irrigation, you only need a cross contamination connection. But if for some reason you're going to use it for drinking water or domestic potable water, then the Board of Health would get involved as well.
I suspect it's in the sanitary code somewhere.
Right.
Okay.
That's the plumbing inspector, so. Yeah, what's Jukey Phil's first name? I don't, real name, the plumbing inspector.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know either. I am embarrassed. Okay. He knows all.
Okay. I will connect with the plumbing inspector. What is it? What do they go by? What's his name? Jukey with a J sound.
Jukey, yeah.
Jukey. That's great. Yeah. So just again, some unique permitting. Again, like I said, these may be common, but they seem it's pretty extensive, but we may want to keep it all. I think it is helpful. Is this the proper terms that we want to use for cannabis retail? Because I think the bylaws call it adult use.
Realistic. I believe it is adult use, and there's also the medical use.
Right.
Which is a separate category. I don't know if they are still separate supply chains or not.
Right.
Or permitting chains.
Okay. Just gonna make a note here to so for business licenses, then we go down to select board of health. Then we get into our contact information, which comes directly from the latest brochure. tried to focus just on phone numbers and emails, and no names, as names change. People come in and out of positions. So there's typically a little blurb about the board or permitting entity. And then again, permits issued just comes straight from the brochure. So there was one question I couldn't find, didn't dig too deep, but building inspector is appointed on an annual basis by the select board. Can anyone clarify? Or?
I know he's on a multi-year contract, so I would say it is appointed by the select board.
Okay. And
just take out on an annual basis.
All right. And then also, do I need to clarify the building inspector or the building commissioner? Because there's several inspectors.
He goes by both names.
He goes by both. Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't seen him on our planning board meetings recently, but I will likely switch them all to commissioner.
Yeah, you may want to ask him what his correct title is, because I'm not sure.
So I'm going to suggest also that you double check, because when we went to the .gov email domain,
okay,
many, but not all, of the emails changed. So planning, it's still planning at hadleyma.gov,
right?
But treasurer, what used to be treasurer at hadleyma.org is now Sanderson L at. So they've changed the emails to put the name of the incumbent in. That was not easy to.
Right, and I believe
did not go unremarked.
Right.
Yeah, clerk and info. Those are all.
What you may want to do is someplace, maybe at the beginning of this, Kyle, is tell them if somebody's looking for an email to go to simply to the Hadley website and find the correct email, because I'm afraid if you put in a lot of these emails, they'll end up in no man's land.
Okay. I can do that and make it easy for everybody.
I would say strip them out and put just a generic. In fact, you can even put a link to the to the page where the all the departments are listed.
Right.
Couldn't you leave the old, because I believe info, .org still goes to Jennifer, and clerk.org still goes to.
For a year.
Yeah.
I see.
For the transition period, it was going to be done that way.
Some concurrency. Okay.
Clerk is now Spanknavel J.
Yeah.
Oh.
Admin is right. Brennan C.
Newsflash, Kyle, the plumber inspector's first name is Dennis.
Okay. That's not what I would have guessed. We were going off junkie. That's great. Dennis. Okay. I'll check in with Dennis if I have questions. Remove office and email.
Been to Vietnam, Juki.
Junkie. Thank you all for bearing with me as I myself. So I'll put a general link to the department directory on the town website. And I believe the phone numbers are okay. Those that have them.
You should be fine.
I believe I've got every board has a phone number. And I did not include one for the planning board, but we'll get to that. I just wanted to make sure if you wanted to do the same as what you put on the planning webpage, business hours for, I think, Jim, and then after business hours for Bill.
Yes, I think we want to keep that up for now, because the questions that are coming into us tend to be more, more specific, than, I'm not sure Kyle is quite ready to start handling some of the,
That's, yeah, no, that's fine. That's totally, I appreciate
is
that.
my use grandfathered for this property?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna have to spend a lot more time in Hadley to get comfortable to field all those questions. So I appreciate that. I will add that to that section. I just wanted to confirm there is no official tree warden for the town, correct?
The building inspector acts as tree warden.
Right. Okay.
No,
Scott
DPW director.
McCarthy from the DPW.
I'm
Right.
sorry, DPW, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'll add that in. I think it talks. No, it doesn't talk about it, but I'll just clarify that they they are responsible for any tree cutting on public ways and such. There is no historic commission, correct?
There is.
There is. Okay.
There is.
And if you go to their page on the Hadley website, there is a link to the current chair.
Okay.
They do not have a Hadley MA email.
Okay.
So this is something I'm having a little discussion with. The town is encouraging certain boards to set up their own Gmail accounts. So rather than having it just be an individual's Gmail account, it will now say something like, Mark, what does diversity have?
I think it's Hadley CDEI at gmail.com.
So apparently there's some budgetary things that certain departments that don't have a high profile, it costs, apparently there's a cost factor in getting hadleyma.gov emails issued. So certain ones are urged to go to just do a Gmail.
Okay.
I can't tell. Yeah, it looks like not every committee is on the department list.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I did just encourage them to go to the website for the most current information.
Okay. I will get that populated. So for the contact for the planning board, we want to I can just copy how it's presented on the planning board webpage.
Yeah, that's probably the best.
Yeah, there it is. The ZBA has a Gmail account. Okay, so that makes sense. I was confused about that a little bit, but thank you for the context, Bill. Okay, so quite a bit of cleanup on the contact information section, but that's the end of the guide, so it's still pretty short and manageable, 21 pages, but I can get this information clarified, the things that need to be clarified and revised. I will appreciate any language that Kayla you can send along for the Concom. I may need to rebuild this flow chart, which is okay because I don't like the way that they are built right now. It's a bit of a mess. But I can include this on my agenda for the third Tuesday of June.
That's
The
the
18th. Thank you. All right. So I'll have that. The next iteration for this. And at that point, I think it'd be good to look at for or it'd be good for the building department if they want to give another look at it, especially since they're the kind of the starting point. I
I
can
suspect that they will probably be on
At-
the meeting.
on that meeting. Okay.
Um,
I will get this one to you with plenty of time, so I can also just send that along. But I'll make sure that they get a chance to look at it.
Yeah.
Okay. Stop share there. So I'm gonna save this. So I have nothing else to present or to share screen, but just to review the other things that I have on my to do for the 18th of June. We will have the final invoice for this fiscal year coming to you shortly. I have an appointment with our finance director to go over everything, make sure that's all in order, so we can close out this year's contract. I've reviewed an old document that Ken had made, long list of work plans for the previous contracts. So I will build a new list of things that have not been addressed and a few topics that have come up in conversation. We can look at that. And if that is in order, then hopefully we'll have a contract to send over your way and sign for fiscal year 25. And we'll be ready to jump right into July.
Okay, good.
Could just ask that
Yes.
you be sure to loop Kayla into anything you send us.
Yes, I can start that.
She's conservation@hadleyma.gov.
Awesome. Yes, I will start keeping Kayla in the loop.
Yeah, I try to forward things to her, but I sometimes forget.
Yeah. Well, it was just today that I figured out what email actually goes to Kayla. So I will happily add her to the distribution.
Thanks, Carl.
Yep, thank you. Yeah, I think that's everything for me. Other than, unfortunately, I had to postpone the scheduled DLTA steering committee meeting that was for yesterday. That was my fault with some communication breakdown, getting Zoom situated for our hybrid meetings. I believe Mark and I have decided on a better protocol Kayla's going to support so that those Zoom links are ready. And we'll get back to our schedule. Our next meeting will be June 3rd, I believe, June 3rd, where I will share kind of the final report on land use, a little land use survey summary, and a little zoning diagnostic just to review, make sure everybody's clear about what are existing conditions in town. And then I will have some ideas for how to engage with the public in June or this summer. Had a very, very successful and well-attended event at another community that's also doing a very similar project just last night. So that went well. So I think we have a good starting point and something to bring to Hadley residents to get the conversation going.
Kyle, just going back to what you're gonna bring to that meeting about the land use.
Yep.
Do you have, and if not, maybe Jim or Bill can suggest where we can get a map that shows the extent of our sewer?
I will have to check. I have not seen that. I will check.
Is that something we can get from the DPW?
The Board of Assessors may have something like that too.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll check with our GIS specialist. Since we worked on the housing production plan and the master plan, typically a master plan will have a map with that information. That's a few years old at this point, so, yeah, I'll make sure that we have something, and I'll follow up with assessors and DPW just to see if they've got new data.
Is there sewer on Knightley Road, Zeke?
No,
No,
No?
Stockbridge, not Nightly.
Yeah, okay.
the old Amherst line on Stockbridge.
Correct.
Yeah, I would check with Scott just to make sure it's whatever we do have is up to date.
Okay, yeah. I will find what we have in PVPC and then try to get a confirmation if that's accurate or we need to revise it. We've got, I'll put that on the top of the list because that might take a little bit of time, but I can also do it on my end. Excuse me. Okay, so I don't think I have anything else to discuss unless you all have something for me.
Oh, should be good. Thank you very much for your.
If I'm lucky enough to be reelected, I'll see you on the 18th.
Well, hopefully that write-in candidate
Yeah.
isn't too popular today, but good luck to you. Happy election day, everybody. And oh, congratulations. I heard town meeting went well and bylaws went
Yeah.
well received at least.
Well, now we'll see what the Attorney General does with them.
Yeah, that's always
Hopefully approves.
right.
That's
We
it.
shall see.
That's the litmus test.
Yeah, surely. Well, thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kyle.
Okay. I have nothing else. Mr. Dwyer?
Yes, one more thing. I was gonna do for Randy. That was the other plan I was
Oh.
putting up,
Mill site.
mill site. Let me go digging for that.
That was the septic.
Yes, that was another septic tank. They need to expand their property so they can replace their septic system.
Is that an A&R?
Yes.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
It's basically land that is all within the family. They're just moving it a little bit from one member to the other member. Just a little bit of history on an interesting piece of history on the big parcel. Way back when there was a monster subdivision plan for where UMass Farm is on North Maple Street. And this person that owned that big parcel, they wanted to tie into back roads or back properties from that farm across the property that this lady owned at the time. And she really wasn't crazy about giving them access. So she claimed some large amount of money to give them a right of way to go across their property. And that was the only thing preventing them from tying into the sewer and putting in a monster development. And the developer at the time said that they wanted too much money and the parcel or the development never happened because the lady held her ground and would not give in to get her money out of it. And then the whole subdivision fell apart. UMass Farm bought the property and turned it into what it is today.
Interesting.
Mr. Dwyer.
I'll make a motion to approve the this is an A&R.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussions?
Yes.
Hearing none?
So what's
in favor?
happening?
Aye. Maximowski, aye.
Krasinski, aye.
Dwyer,
Joe Zagradnik, aye.
Done. Aye.
to get back to your
Unanimous,
question,
motion-
that a portion of lot one is being added to lot two to allow lot two to expand its septic system.
That's the west portion of lot two is being added from lot one. Is that right?
Right, where it says portion of to be combined with adjoining land. And then there's these little double-headed arrows here showing.
Yep. Yeah.
Motion is unanimous, it passes. So. Okay. So we need- Thank you.
No deleterious impact.
Yes, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second that.
Do we need a roll call vote on that too, Bill?
Why don't you just ask if anyone objects?
Anybody object to adjourning the meeting? Motion passes. Thank you. Meeting is history. Thank you, Kyle. Thank you, Alex. Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Good night.
Well,
Good night, all.
Thank you, everyone.